You don't master excellence by accident. You don't stumble into greatness. You don't wake up one day and suddenly become extraordinary. Excellence is not a destination, my friend. It is a daily decision. It's a practice. It's a lifestyle. It's a choice you make when you get up in the morning and when you lay down at night. See, the problem is too many people are waiting for excellence to visit them like a miracle, when in reality, excellence only comes when you invite it daily through discipline, through consistency, and through commitment. Now let me tell you something about daily excellence. It doesn't always look glamorous. Most of the time it looks like doing the small things that nobody else wants to do. It looks like showing up on time, keeping your word, making the extra call, finishing the project, reviewing your notes, praying when you're tired, studying when you don't feel like it, and loving people even when they're unlovable. See, the greatness of your future is hidden in the routine of your daily habits. If you want to know where you'll be 5 years from now, don't look at your big dreams, look at your small decisions. Because it is not what you occasionally do that shapes your destiny. It's what you consistently do. Excellence is not built in the occasional moments of inspiration. It's built in the consistent moments of dedication. You've got to make up in your mind that good enough is not good enough for you anymore. Average is overcrowded. Ordinary is easy, but it costs you everything. The world is full of people who settle, but it is empty of those who commit to mastery. And mastery does not come from wishing, it comes from working. It does not come from excuses, it comes from execution. Every day you are either practicing excellence or practicing mediocrity. Every day you are either reinforcing habits that lead to greatness or habits that lead to regret. That's why the art of daily excellence is not about doing everything. It's about doing the right things the best you can with what you have every single day. Excellence will require you to be uncomfortable. Excellence will require you to stretch. Excellence will require you to go the extra mile when the first mile already wore you out. But here's the good news. Excellence pays. Oh yes, mediocrity costs you, but excellence pays you back with interest. Excellence opens doors that talent can't open. Excellence attracts favor that money can't buy. Excellence makes you stand before kings and queens, just like the scripture says, "Do you see a man diligent in his work? He shall stand before kings." Let me put it plain. If you want to change your life, change your days, because your days are your life in miniature. Your daily excellence is your destiny in practice. If you master today, you won't have to worry about tomorrow, because tomorrow will simply be the harvest of the seeds you sowed in today's excellence. So here's my challenge to you. Stop waiting for the perfect day to begin and start making today perfect through your choices. Don't look for the easy road, look for the excellent road. Don't settle for being counted among the common when God has called you to be uncommon. Master the art of daily excellence and watch your life become a masterpiece. Because here's the truth, excellence is not what you do once, it's who you become when you do the right things daily. And when you become excellent, you don't just change your life, you change generations. Excellence is not a random event or something that just falls into your lap one day without effort. It is not luck, and it is not a miracle that suddenly changes your life overnight. Excellence is a decision, and it is a decision that you must make daily. Every morning when you open your eyes, you have the opportunity to choose whether you will live at the level of mediocrity or the level of mastery. You don't drift into excellence because drifting always takes you downhill. If you want to go up, if you want to grow, if you want to improve, you have to be intentional. And that intention begins with a decision. When you decide to live a life of excellence, you are essentially declaring that you will no longer be governed by convenience, but by commitment. Convenience asks, what's easiest for me right now? Commitment asks, what will serve my future and honor my God? When you live by convenience, you will cut corners, you will give half effort, you will settle for good enough. But when you live by commitment, you will rise to a higher standard, and that higher standard doesn't happen once in a while, it happens every day. Think about this. Every great achievement you admire, every successful person you look up to, every leader who inspires you, did not arrive at greatness because of one big moment. They arrived at greatness because of thousands of small daily decisions. Michael Jordan didn't become the greatest basketball player in history because of one championship game. He became great because he decided to practice excellence every single day in the gym when nobody was watching. Serena Williams didn't win her titles because of one final match. She decided daily that she would push her body, her mind, and her skill past comfort until excellence was her lifestyle. Excellence is always the result of a repeated decision. The problem most people have is not that they don't want success, but that they don't want to pay the price for it every day. They want the fruit of excellence without sowing the seeds of excellence. But life does not work like that. The scripture says, "Do not be deceived, God is not mocked, for whatever a man sows that he will also reap." If you sow mediocrity today, you will reap mediocrity tomorrow. If you sow procrastination today, you will reap regret tomorrow. But if you sow excellence today, you will reap opportunity, favor, and greatness tomorrow. Now, let me give you a practical way to look at it. Imagine your life is like a bank account. Every day you are either depositing excellence or withdrawing from it. When you choose to be on time, to prepare, to work with focus, to treat people with respect, you are making deposits into the account of excellence. And when you choose laziness, excuses, or shortcuts, you are making withdrawals. Eventually, your account balance will show up in your results. Excellence is not built in a day, but it is built daily. Excellence as a decision also means you must reject the lie of someday. How many times have you heard someone say, "One day I'll be more disciplined, one day I'll be more consistent, one day I'll take my calling seriously," but the truth is, one day never comes. The only day you are promised is today, and if you don't choose excellence today, you will not magically choose it tomorrow. Tomorrow is just today repeated. If you master today, tomorrow will take care of itself. When you make the decision to live in daily excellence, you are not just changing your habits. You are changing your identity. You stop being the person who settles for good enough, and you start becoming the person who is trusted, respected, and elevated because you can be counted on to deliver excellence consistently. Employers look for that. Leaders look for that. Even God looks for that. That's why Scripture says, "The eyes of the Lord run to and fro throughout the earth, looking for someone whose heart is fully committed to Him." A heart of commitment shows up in daily decisions of excellence. This is why it's so important to understand that excellence is not about perfection. You don't have to be perfect to be excellent, but you do have to be consistent. Perfection is about never making mistakes, and that's impossible. But excellence is about showing up, doing your best, and refusing to settle, even when you make mistakes. Excellence means when you fall, you get up and learn. Excellence means when you fail forward and use the lesson to fuel your growth. So the decision for daily excellence is really the decision to be intentional with your life. It is to say, "I will not waste today. I will not live sloppy. I will not live casual. I will live with purpose. I will act with diligence. I will walk with discipline." And when you live like that, you begin to experience a shift. Opportunities come, doors open, people notice. And most of all, you begin to respect yourself in a new way because you know you are living at your highest standard. At the end of the day, excellence is not what you do once in a while. It is what you decide to do daily. It's not just what happens on the stage. It's what happens in the secret place. And when you decide that today and every day you will choose excellence, you put yourself on a trajectory that guarantees growth, influence, and legacy. Excellence is not out there somewhere waiting for you. It is right here in the decision you make right now. Most people think excellence is only measured by the big wins, the visible accomplishments, the grand moments when everybody is watching. But the truth is, excellence is never first formed in the spotlight. It is formed in the shadows. It is not born in the moment of recognition, but in the quiet moments of preparation. Excellence lives in the details, and the details are always small things. It is how you handle the little things in life that determines whether you will ever be trusted with the bigger things. So many people are waiting for the big break, the huge platform, the once in a lifetime opportunity. But here is the truth. If you are not excellent in the small things, that opportunity will not come, or if it comes, you will not be ready to handle it. Scripture says, "He who is faithful in what is least is faithful also in much." That means God tests you in the small things before he promotes you to the larger things. If you are sloppy with the small, you cannot be trusted with the significant, and if you do not practice excellence in the little, you will not suddenly become excellent when the big door opens. Think about this. A diamond is not valuable because of its size. It is valuable because of the precision of its cut. The small details determine its worth. In the same way, your life gains value when you master the details of discipline, character, and consistency. Excellence is not about doing everything. It is about doing the things you do with quality, focus, and diligence. The small things you do daily, how you organize your time, how you keep your word, how you follow through on commitments, how you treat people when no one is looking, these are the things that shape the foundation of your greatness. Take something as simple as showing up on time. To some, that may seem like a minor issue, but punctuality is a reflection of character. When you show up on time, you are saying to others, "I respect you and your time." When you are careless about it, you are communicating, "My convenience is more important than my commitment." Excellence is hidden in that small thing called punctuality. The same goes for keeping promises. When you do what you say you will do, even in matters that feel small, you are practicing a level of excellence that builds trust, influence, and credibility. Let's look at the example of athletes again. The world sees them on the field or court, but the true measure of their excellence is not on game day. It's in the practice, the drills, the repetition when the cameras are off. Kobe Bryant was known for practicing at 4 o'clock in the morning, running drills for hours while his teammates were still asleep. That's small detail work, but it is those unseen details that made him legendary on the court. Excellence is not glamorous in the process. It becomes glorious in the result. Even in business, the small details separate companies that thrive from those that fail. A company that returns calls promptly, communicates clearly, delivers products with care, and pays attention to customer service will always stand out. Why? Because the details matter. Customers may not remember everything you say, but they will always remember how you made them feel, and that often comes down to the little touches of excellence in the small things. On a personal level, think about your spiritual growth. Reading the Bible daily, praying consistently, choosing integrity when no one is around, those might feel like small things, but over time they build spiritual excellence. They prepare you for the greater calling God has placed on your life. If you can't be consistent in the private devotion, you won't be stable in the public calling. Excellence in the small things also teaches you humility. Because nobody claps for you when you sweep the floor, when you study late, when you save a little money instead of spending it, when you do chores, when you practice the scales on a piano for thousandth time. There's no audience, no praise, no applause. But that's where your character is being formed. That's where your foundation is being laid, and that is why people who honor the small things end up carrying the great responsibilities. Excellence in the small things doesn't mean you have to be perfect. It means you value details enough to care. It means you understand that greatness is built one brick at a time, one habit at a time, one decision at a time. The problem with many people is they want to skip the bricks and jump straight to the building, but a building with no foundation will collapse. Excellence in the details is how you lay the foundation so that when your platform comes, you can stand on it without falling. So the real question you must ask yourself is this: how do I handle the little things in my life? Am I careless with them? Do I cut corners, or do I take them seriously, knowing that they prepare me for greater things? If you honor the details will honor you. If you give your best in the little, God will multiply it into much. But if you despise the little, you disqualify yourself from the much. This is why mastering the art of daily excellence always starts with mastering the art of small things. Your future is hidden in the daily details of your present. When you learn to treat every task as significant, even if it feels insignificant, you build a habit of excellence that will eventually open doors you never thought possible. Excellence is not somewhere far off in the distance. It is right now, in the way you do what you do today, even in the smallest of things. Excellence requires discipline. Discipline is the bridge between what you desire and what you actually achieve. Everybody has dreams, everybody has goals, everybody has a vision of a better life. But only those who embrace discipline turn those desires into reality. Without discipline, desire is just fantasy. Without discipline, goals are just wishful thinking. Without discipline, potential dies unused. Discipline is the price you pay to bring excellence out of the realm of possibility into the realm of reality. Most people underestimate the cost of discipline because it feels uncomfortable. Nobody naturally enjoys discipline. The body wants comfort, the mind wants ease, the emotions want relief. Discipline asks you to deny what's easy so you can gain what's valuable. It requires you to trade temporary pleasure for permanent progress. It asks you to do today what most people won't, so that tomorrow you can live how most people can't. That's why very few people ever master excellence, because very few people ever master themselves. Paul said in 1 Corinthians 9:27, I discipline my body and bring it into subjection, lest after preaching to others, I myself should become disqualified. He understood that if you do not control your body will control you. If you do not master your appetites will master you. If you do not set boundaries, your impulses will lead you into bondage. Discipline is what sets you free to live with excellence, because discipline gives you the power to say yes to your vision and no to your distractions. Excellence requires discipline because excellence is not about doing something once in a while. It is about doing the right things consistently. Discipline is what keeps you consistent. Anybody can show up once. Anybody can be motivated for a day. Anybody can start a new habit in January, but it takes discipline to continue when motivation fades. It takes discipline to show up on the days when you don't feel like it. It takes discipline to push through when you're tired, when you're discouraged, when the results are not immediate. Motivation starts you, but discipline sustains you. Think of an athlete in training. The medals are won not in the moment of the competition, but in the months and years of disciplined practice. Every morning run, every repetition in the gym, every practice session when no one is watching. That is discipline. The discipline produces mastery, and the mastery produces excellence. Without discipline, the athlete would not even qualify to compete. It is not talent alone that creates champions, but disciplined talent. The same principle applies in business, in relationships, in spiritual life. A business that thrives is a business built on disciplines, discipline in managing finances, discipline in serving customers, discipline in keeping promises, discipline in constant improvement. A strong relationship requires discipline too. The discipline to communicate, to forgive, to remain faithful, to invest time and energy even when it's not convenient. And spiritually, growth only comes through disciplines, prayer, study, worship, obedience. Those things are not always easy, but they are necessary for a life of excellence. The reason many people resist discipline is because they confuse it with punishment. They think discipline is a burden. But discipline is not punishment, it is preparation. Discipline is the training that strengthens you, equips you, and positions you for greater opportunities. Without it, you will crumble under pressure. With it, you will be ready to rise when the opportunity comes. Discipline is the gym for your character, and just like physical exercise builds muscles, spiritual and personal discipline builds strength in your soul. Another important truth is that discipline compounds. Just like money grows with compound interest, discipline grows with consistency. The small disciplined actions you take daily may not look like much in the moment, but over time they build into something extraordinary. Reading for 20 minutes a day doesn't seem like much, but over a year, that's dozens of books. Saving a little money regularly doesn't look impressive, but over years it builds wealth. Exercising for half an hour doesn't transform your body in one session, but over months and years, it changes your health. Discipline may feel small in the moment, but it produces massive rewards over time, and here's the beautiful thing: discipline eventually becomes delight. What begins as a sacrifice can turn into a lifestyle you enjoy. At first, it feels like you are forcing yourself. But as you continue, you build habits, and those habits create momentum, and that momentum makes discipline easier. It becomes who you are. Excellence then is not something you try to do. It's something you naturally live out because discipline has reshaped your identity. So when we say excellence requires discipline, what we're really saying is this: you must take control of your life instead of letting your life control you. You must set a standard and hold yourself to it, even when no one else is looking. You must choose structure over chaos, growth over comfort, and principle over impulse. The undisciplined life may feel easier in the short term, but it always costs more in the long run. The disciplined life may feel costly in the short term, but it always pays more in the long run. Excellence is reserved for those who are willing to train themselves, to govern themselves, to lead themselves before they try to lead others. Discipline is not glamorous. Nobody celebrates the early mornings, the sacrifices, the repeated practice, the self-denial. But everybody celebrates the results. Discipline is the hidden price of visible excellence. And the moment you embrace it not as punishment but as preparation, you unlock a power that will separate you from the crowd and position you for greatness. Excellence is not a mood, it is a standard. That means excellence does not depend on how you feel on a given day. It depends on the principles you live by every day. If excellence were a mood, then your commitment to it would rise and fall with your emotions. One day you would be on fire, the next day you would quit. One day you would give your best, the next day you would slack. That is not excellence, that is inconsistency. True excellence is built when you choose to live by standards that remain the same whether you feel like it or not. Most people live their lives ruled by how they feel. If they feel inspired, they work hard. If they feel motivated, they pray. If they feel energetic, they study, but when the feelings fade, so does their performance. They are slaves to their emotions, and because emotions are unstable, their results are unstable. But those who live by standards are unshakable. They decide ahead of time who they will be and how they will act, regardless of how they feel. And that is why their results are consistent and trustworthy. Excellence is not an emotional roller coaster. Excellence is a fixed decision. It's waking up and saying, even if I am tired, I will show up. Even if I am discouraged, I will give my best. Even if no one is watching, I will still operate at a high level. When you build that kind of standard into your life, you no longer need to wait for motivation to act. Motivation comes and goes, but standards remain. Discipline enforces the standard, and that is how you build a life of excellence. Consider the difference between a thermostat and a thermometer. A thermometer simply reacts to the temperature of the room. It goes up if the room is hot, down if the room is cold. It has no control, it only reflects its environment. That's how most people live their lives. They are thermometers. If their circumstances are good, they feel good and perform well. If their circumstances are bad, they feel down and give less effort. But a thermostat sets the temperature. It creates the atmosphere. No matter what the room is like, the thermostat maintains its standard. That is what excellence is. It's being a thermostat, not a thermometer. In business, the people who stand out are those who operate at a standard of excellence, whether the economy is up or down, whether sales are easy or hard. In sports, the champions are not those who only play well when they feel strong, but those who perform at a high level even when they are tired, injured, or under pressure. In life, the people who build trust, influence, and legacy are those who show up consistently, regardless of their moods. The world doesn't reward mood swings, it rewards standards. Think about the character of Daniel in the Bible. He was taken into captivity, stripped from his homeland, placed under pressure, surrounded by compromise. Yet he still lived by a standard of excellence. The Bible says an excellent spirit was found in him. That spirit of excellence didn't depend on whether he was comfortable, whether he was free, or whether he was favored. His standard was the same whether he was in a palace or a prison. That's why kings trusted him. That's why he was promoted again and again. He lived by standard, not by mood. If you want to master daily excellence, you have to set non-negotiables in your life. Non-negotiables are things you do regardless of how you feel. You might not feel like waking up early, but it's a non-negotiable. You might not feel like keeping your word, but it's a non-negotiable. You might not feel like treating people with respect, but it's a non-negotiable. When you live by non-negotiables, you train your emotions to serve your principles instead of allowing your principles to be hijacked by your emotions. It is also important to understand that your standard sets your identity. If you live by moods, you become unpredictable. People can't rely on you because they don't know which version of you is going to show up. But when you live by standards, you create a reputation. People know what to expect from you. They know you will deliver. They know you will show up. They know you will be consistent. That reliability creates influence and opportunity. Doors open for people who can be trusted to maintain excellence regardless of their circumstances. Excellence as a standard also means you don't lower your bar to match your surroundings. Just because other people are cutting corners doesn't mean you cut corners. Just because everyone else is slacking doesn't mean you slack. Standards are not set by the crowd, they are set by conviction. And when you keep your standards high, even when others do not, you set yourself apart. You become uncommon, and uncommon people attract uncommon opportunities. At the end of the day, your feelings will lie to you. They will tell you to quit when you should keep going. They will tell you to take shortcuts when you should stay committed. They will tell you to give less when you should give more, but your standards will keep you aligned with your purpose. And when you live by standards instead of moods, you will find that excellence becomes your natural way of life. Excellence is not what you feel like doing, it is what you choose to do, and the more you choose it, the stronger that choice becomes. Over time, you won't even need to wrestle with your moods. Excellence will simply be who you are. And when excellence is who you are, success, favor, and influence will follow, because excellence always attracts reward. Excellence always demands the extra mile. It is never satisfied with just getting by, with just doing what is required, or with just meeting the bare minimum. The extra mile is where excellence lies, and it is the extra mile that separates the average from the extraordinary. Anyone can walk the first mile, because the first mile is obligation, it's duty, it's expectation. But very few people are willing to keep going when the obligation ends. The extra mile is not crowded, and that is why it is where greatness is found. When Jesus said, "If someone compels you to go 1 mile, go with him 2," he was teaching a principle of life and excellence. In the culture of his time, Roman soldiers could force civilians to carry their equipment for 1 mile. That was the legal requirement, but Jesus said, don't stop at the requirement, go beyond it. In other words, don't settle for doing just enough to get by, do more than is expected. That attitude is the essence of daily excellence, because it shifts your mindset from survival to mastery, from mediocrity to greatness. The truth is, anyone can do what is asked of them, anyone can do the minimum. But when you go beyond the call of duty, when you deliver more than was expected, when you add value that nobody asked for, you stand out. People remember those who go the extra mile. Employers notice, customers notice, leaders notice, and most importantly, God notices. Scripture is full of promises to those who are diligent, faithful, and willing to do more than the minimum. The person who gives extra effort always attracts extra reward. Going the extra mile does not always mean doing something big or dramatic. Often, it means paying attention to the details others ignore. It means showing kindness when it's not required, finishing a job with excellence instead of leaving it halfway, preparing more thoroughly than necessary, listening more attentively than expected, serving more generously than convenient. These small acts of going beyond the minimum add up and set you apart in ways that cannot be ignored. In business, the companies that thrive are not those that simply deliver the product. They are the ones that surprise and delight their customers by doing more than the customer anticipated. Think about the difference between a business that barely delivers on its promise and a business that exceeds expectations. One creates frustration, the other creates loyalty. Excellence in business is built on the extra mile. That is why some brands become unforgettable. They do not just give you what you paid for, they give you more. In relationships, the extra mile is also the difference maker. Anybody can love when it is easy, when the other person is kind, when it costs nothing. But the extra mile is loving when it's hard, forgiving when it hurts, serving when you don't feel like it. That's what creates depth and strength in relationships. Marriages thrive when spouses are willing to go beyond their comfort zones for each other. Friendships endure when friends are willing to sacrifice, not just show up when it's convenient. The extra mile in relationships creates bonds that cannot easily be broken. Spiritually, the extra mile looks like pursuing God beyond the surface level. Anybody can say a quick prayer or read a verse occasionally. But excellence comes when you seek God consistently, when you meditate on His Word, when you spend time in His presence even when you are busy or tired. That extra mile of devotion is what deepens your faith and sharpens your discernment. Those who go beyond the casual pursuit of God step into a realm of favor and revelation that casual seekers will never experience. Now here's the thing, the extra mile is not comfortable. It requires more effort, more sacrifice, more commitment. It stretches you beyond what is easy, and that is why most people never go there. They stop at the line of good enough, but the line of good enough is the line of mediocrity. Excellence demands that you step past that line into the territory where few are willing to walk, and because so few walk there, it is the place where extraordinary results lie. Going the extra mile also changes the way you see yourself. When you consistently do more than expected, you begin to develop a sense of pride and confidence in your character. You no longer see yourself as someone who just scrapes by. You begin to identify as someone who over-delivers, someone who can be counted on, someone who lives with integrity and diligence. That identity shift is powerful because once you see yourself as a person of excellence, you begin to attract opportunities that match that identity. The extra mile is also where growth happens. The first mile is familiar, comfortable, routine, but when you step into the second mile, you are stretching yourself. You are building endurance, you are expanding capacity, you are growing stronger. Just like in physical training, the growth doesn't come in the first easy repetitions. It comes in the painful ones after you want to quit. The extra mile is uncomfortable, but it is in the discomfort that transformation occurs. So the call to excellence is a call to go beyond. Beyond what's expected, beyond what's required, beyond what others are willing to do. That is where influence is built, where respect is earned, where favor is found. If you want to separate yourself from the crowd, make the extra mile your normal. Live in such a way that people come to expect more from you because you consistently deliver more than they ask. And watch how opportunities, relationships, and blessings begin to open up in your life. At the end of the day, the extra mile is not about impressing people. It is about honoring your calling. It is about saying, I will not live average. I will not settle for minimums. I will give my best because that's who I am. And when you live like that, you don't just experience success, you create significance. The extra mile is where your purpose collides with your performance, and it is there that daily excellence turns into lasting legacy. Excellence opens doors that nothing else can. Talent can get attention, connections can give you access, money can buy you influence for a season, but excellence is the one quality that consistently makes room for you. When you operate in excellence, you don't have to beg for opportunities because opportunities begin to look for you. The Bible says in Proverbs, "Do you see a man diligent in his work? He shall stand before kings. He shall not stand before mean men." That's not just a nice proverb, it's a principle of life. Diligence, which is the daily practice of excellence, brings you before people of influence, favor, and authority. When you commit to excellence, people take notice. Why? Because excellence is rare. Most people are content to do just enough to get by. Mediocrity is normal, shortcuts are common, laziness is widespread. But when someone shows up consistently, delivers high-quality work, honors their word, and pays attention to the details, it shines like a light in a dark room. Excellence is magnetic. It attracts recognition, trust, and opportunity. It positions you in places you could never get to otherwise. Think about Joseph in the Bible. He was sold into slavery, falsely accused, and thrown into prison. On the surface, it looked like his life was going downhill, but wherever Joseph went, he carried excellence with him. In Potiphar's house, he did his work with such diligence and integrity that he was promoted to overseer of the entire estate. In prison, he displayed such faithfulness and wisdom that he was put in charge of the other prisoners. And because of his excellence, the day came when he was brought before Pharaoh himself. He went from the pit to the palace not because of his connections, not because of his circumstances, but because he was excellent in every place he found himself. Excellence opened the door. The same is true in our lives. Excellence is the key that opens doors in business, career, ministry, and relationships. When you are excellent at what you do, people will recommend you, even in rooms where you are not present. Your name will be spoken in circles of influence because your work speaks louder than your words. When you go above and beyond, when you deliver quality consistently, people cannot help but take notice. And when they notice, they want to open doors for you. Excellence also builds trust, and trust opens doors. People don't open doors for those they can't rely on. They may give a chance to someone who talks well, but they will only trust opportunities to someone who has proven character and consistency. Excellence proves that you are trustworthy, that you can handle responsibility, that you will show up even when it's hard. And when people see that, they are willing to invest in you, partner with you, and recommend you. Opportunities are not just about what you know or who you know. They are about who knows they can count on you. Excellence creates that reputation. When you are excellent, you don't have to chase favor. Favor chases you. Doors begin to open that you could never manipulate your way into. That's why I say, don't focus on trying to open every door yourself. Focus on being excellent where you are, and the right doors will swing open at the right time. Now, here's the beautiful thing. Excellence not only opens doors for you, it keeps them open. There are people who have gotten into rooms because of charm, talent, or connections, but they couldn't stay because they didn't have the excellence to sustain it. Access without excellence is temporary, but when you get there by excellence, you will remain there because you add value, you contribute, you solve problems, and you make things better. Excellence doesn't just give you a seat at the table. It ensures you are invited back again and again. Excellence also elevates your voice. In a noisy world full of empty talk, people listen to the voice of excellence. They may ignore the complainers, the half-hearted, and the inconsistent, but they respect and seek out the person who has proven excellence through results. Excellence gives credibility. When you speak, people lean in because they know your words are backed by the weight of your work. Excellence even draws supernatural favor. God honors those who operate with diligence and faithfulness. When you work with excellence, you are not just serving people. You are serving God, and God will open doors for you that no man can shut. Some doors of opportunity cannot be explained by human logic. They are divine setups, opened because you were faithful in the little things, and God chose to reward you with much. So many people spend their energy trying to get noticed. They chase attention, they beg for opportunities, they force their way into rooms. But the truth is, if you focus on mastering the art of excellence daily, you won't have to chase those things. Opportunities will chase you, doors will open for you, kings will call for you. That is the power of excellence. At the end of the day, the question is not whether doors will open. The question is whether you are prepared to walk through them. Excellence is the preparation. Excellence is the key. Excellence is the character that sustains you once the door opens. When you live with excellence, you don't have to worry about missing your moment. Your moment will find you, and you will be ready for it. Excellence creates impact and legacy in a way that mediocrity never can. When you live a life of average, when you settle for just enough, when you do only what is required, your life leaves very little behind. Mediocrity dies with you, but excellence echoes beyond you. It sets a standard, it creates an example, it plants seeds that grow into trees long after you are gone. Excellence is not just about what you do in the moment. It is about the mark you leave on generations to come. Think about this. Every single one of us is writing a story with our lives, and that story is not just for us. It is for those who watch us, those who follow us, and those who will come after us. Your children, your grandchildren, your students, your coworkers, they are all being shaped not by what you say alone, but by the standard you live. If you live with mediocrity, you give them permission to settle. But if you live with excellence, you raise the bar for what is possible. You inspire others to strive higher, to do better, to believe bigger. Excellence creates impact because it multiplies. When one person chooses excellence, it raises the temperature of everyone around them. A teacher who is excellent doesn't just transfer knowledge. They ignite passion in their students. A leader who is excellent doesn't just manage tasks. They create a culture of greatness that transforms the entire team. A parent who is excellent doesn't just provide. They model character, diligence, and faith that will carry their children into the future. Excellence doesn't stay contained. It spreads, it influences, it multiplies. Now here's the truth. You may never know the full impact of your excellence while you are alive. The seeds you plant with your diligence, integrity, and faithfulness may not bear fruit until years down the road. But legacy is not measured in immediate applause. It is measured in the lasting change you create. Joseph's excellence in Egypt didn't just save his family. It preserved an entire nation and influenced history for generations. Daniel's excellence in Babylon didn't just get him promoted. It left a testimony of God's power that kings and kingdoms could not deny. Their legacy was written in their excellence. Mediocrity, on the other hand, has no lasting value. It may bring short-term comfort, but it never inspires, it never multiplies, it never leaves a mark. Nobody builds statues for people who did just enough to get by. Nobody tells stories about the one who barely met expectations. The stories that inspire us, the legacies that endure, the names that live on, they all belong to those who committed to excellence, who refused to settle, who gave their very best even when it was hard. Excellence also creates impact because it aligns you with purpose. When you operate in excellence, you are not just working for a paycheck or recognition. You are working unto God. You are treating your assignment as sacred, and when you do that, your work becomes worship. That kind of attitude transforms ordinary tasks into extraordinary impact. People feel the difference when they experience your excellence, because it carries weight, it carries spirit, it carries purpose. And here's what's powerful. Excellence doesn't always require grand gestures. Sometimes it looks like showing up consistently, keeping your word, paying attention to details, serving with a cheerful spirit, doing what others overlook. These small acts, when done consistently, leave a profound impact on the lives they touch. A kind word spoken with excellence, a service rendered with excellence, a product delivered with excellence. All of these plant seeds of trust, hope, and inspiration that can grow for years. Legacy is built in these daily choices. Every day you are either building a legacy of mediocrity or a legacy of excellence. Which one do you want to leave behind? When people look back at your life, will they say you settled, or will they say you set a standard? Will they remember you as someone who cut corners, or as someone who gave their best? Legacy is not built in one grand moment. It is built in thousands of small, excellent moments compounded over time. Excellence also ensures that what you build outlives you. Businesses built on mediocrity crumble when the leader is gone. Families built on mediocrity struggle when times get hard. But anything built on excellence is built on a firm foundation. It can withstand storms, it can carry weight, it can endure across generations. Excellence is not just about success today, it is about sustainability tomorrow. When you choose excellence, you are not just making life better for yourself, you are making life better for everyone connected to you. Your coworkers, your family, your community, your church, your nation, they all benefit from your standard of excellence. And when enough people commit to living with excellence, entire cultures are transformed. Excellence doesn't just change individuals, it changes societies. So understand this. Every act of excellence you practice is bigger than you. It is shaping the world around you. It is writing your legacy. It is creating an inheritance of inspiration, wisdom, and strength for those who come after you. Excellence may feel costly in the moment, but it pays dividends for generations. Mediocrity is cheap, but it is also bankrupt. Excellence is costly, but it produces wealth of impact and legacy that money could never buy. When you live with excellence, you can leave this world knowing that your life mattered, that your example counted, that your story will continue long after you are gone. That is the power of excellence. It doesn't just elevate your life, it multiplies your influence and secures your legacy. Excellence transforms destiny because destiny is not shaped by what you occasionally do, it is shaped by what you consistently practice. Every single day you are writing the script of your future through your habits, your choices, and your standards. People often talk about destiny as though it is something mysterious, something that will just happen to them if they wait long enough. But destiny is not an accident. Destiny is the harvest of discipline. And when you practice excellence daily, you are literally shaping the trajectory of your life toward greatness. Think of it this way, your days are like seeds. What you plant in the soil of your day will show up as the fruit of your tomorrow. If you plant carelessness, laziness, mediocrity, inconsistency, that's what your future will reflect. But if you plant diligence, intentionality, discipline, and excellence, then your future will be filled with opportunities, influence, and success. Excellence is not about one big moment. It is about 1,000 small choices that accumulate over time and turn into destiny. Look at the people who have achieved extraordinary things. Their destinies were not written in one day, but in every day. They mastered their craft when no one was watching. They built habits that aligned with their purpose. They said no to distractions so they could say yes to destiny. Excellence was their daily practice, and that practice shaped their legacy. That's why when people say greatness runs in their blood, the truth is greatness doesn't run in bloodlines, it runs in disciplines. It runs in decisions. Excellence becomes the invisible hand that writes your destiny. The danger many fall into is thinking that destiny is shaped by big opportunities. They believe if I get one big break, then my life will change forever. But the truth is, the big break only magnifies who you already are. If you are excellent before the opportunity comes, the opportunity will elevate you. If you are sloppy and inconsistent before the opportunity comes, the opportunity will expose you. That's why the art of daily excellence is so critical. It ensures that when destiny knocks on your door, you are prepared to walk through it. Excellence also transforms destiny because it changes who you become in the process. Destiny is not just about what you accomplish. It's about who you are while accomplishing it. When you live with excellence, you train your character, you become reliable, trustworthy, disciplined, and resilient. You begin to see yourself differently, not as someone who barely gets by, but as someone who is called, capable, and prepared for greatness. This shift in identity is powerful because your destiny is always tied to your identity. You cannot live a destiny of greatness if you continue to see yourself as average. But when excellence shapes your daily habits, it also reshapes the way you see yourself. Another reason excellence transforms destiny is because it positions you for divine favor. God honors those who honor him through excellence. When you give your best, even in small things, God opens doors that no man can shut. He promotes you in ways that don't make sense. He elevates you from the back of the line to the front. Just like he did with David, who was faithful as a shepherd in the fields, practicing excellence in obscurity until the day came when he was anointed king. His destiny wasn't unlocked on the day of the anointing. It was being formed every day he chose excellence with the sheep. And this is the key. Excellence makes you ready for destiny before destiny makes you visible. Too many people want visibility before they have built credibility. They want the spotlight before they have built the substance to handle it. Excellence ensures that when the spotlight comes, you don't crumble under the pressure. You shine with authenticity and preparation. Destiny is not just about reaching the place God has for you. It's about being the person God can trust in that place. Excellence also transforms destiny generationally. Your daily commitment to excellence doesn't just affect you, it affects your children, your family, your community. When you set a standard of excellence, you are changing the trajectory of not just your life, but the lives connected to you. Mediocrity passes down struggle, but excellence passes down strength. Mediocrity teaches compromise, but excellence teaches discipline. Mediocrity leaves behind excuses, but excellence leaves behind examples. Your destiny, shaped by your excellence, becomes the foundation for the destinies of those who come after you. Here's the sobering truth. Mediocrity robs people of destiny. It kills potential. It keeps gifts buried. It silences voices. It prevents people from stepping into the fullness of what God created them to be. But excellence unlocks potential, it maximizes gifts, it amplifies voices, it positions people to live out their calling fully. When you practice daily excellence, you are not just shaping your future, you are protecting your destiny from being wasted. At the end of the day, destiny is not something you stumble into. It is something you grow into, and you grow into it through excellence. Every day that you choose to live with excellence, you are taking another step into the person you were created to be. You are aligning your life with your calling. You are shaping a future that will not just be successful, but significant. So the question is not whether you have a destiny. You do. The question is whether you are living with excellence today to transform that destiny into reality. Because destiny without discipline is just a dream, but destiny with excellence becomes a legacy.